recognizable symbol of our faith, but its story is not very well understood. How many of you actually know what the story is behind the actual chalice? The flaming chalice did not originate here by design of our own ministers. Its roots reach into a time of global crisis, much like the trials we face today. During the height of World War II, the Unitarian Service Committee, a humanitarian rescue and relief organization, was working to aid refugees fleeing Nazi persecution across Europe. In 1941, Executive Director Reverend Charles Joy asked an Austrian refugee and artist, Hans Deutsch, to create a simple but powerful emblem for the committee's work. Essentially, they were asking him for a logo to put on a letterhead so that they looked all good and official. Deutsch drew upon ancient imagery, the Greek and Roman practice of burning oil in a chalice, and designed the flaming chalice as the official seal for the committee's paperwork and identity. To him, it symbolized helpfulness and sacrifice in the face of grave danger. The image soon became a quietly coded beacon of refuge for those escaping oppression. In other words, the flaming chalice was born in the shadow of fascism. In a time when state power sought to extinguish life and liberty, it became a source of strength for rescuers and refugees alike. After the war, the symbol spread beyond its practical origins and was embraced by Unitarian and later Unitarian Universalist communities around the world. Today it stands not only as a reminder of that courageous history, but as a living metaphor for faith in action. A faith that burns brightest when it confronts fear and champions freedom. In our tradition, lighting the chalice is more than a ritual. It is a spiritual act. It is a prayer. The flame represents warmth, illumination, and the sustaining power of love and commitment. It reminds us that one small light, tended with care, can radiate far beyond its immediate surroundings. It also reminds us of the power of connection. No flame exists alone. When one chalice is lit, it can ignite another. When we share in lighting the chalice, we acknowledge that our spiritual journeys are intertwined, that hope grows in community, and that courage and love are contagious. I know that when I am my most afraid, I seek to be infected by someone else's courage. I take off my mask and breathe in their light cooties. I have to. Otherwise, I will wallow in fear. Because I'm human too. And I may have gone to school so that I can learn how to tell everybody else, here's how you don't fall into this pit, while I'm in the middle of tripping into it. So remember how fallible we are when it comes to tending our light. Because that contagiousness is the thing that we utterly rely upon, need, can't do without. Seek to infect others with it as much as you seek to be infected by it. So the symbolism beautifully intersects with the holiday of luminescence, which is a uniquely Unitarian Universalist celebration of light and hope and illumination. Luminescence honors those moments when light enters darkness, when understanding arises from confusion, when compassion emerges in the face of indifference. It is not tied to any single doctrine or historical figure. It's a celebration of spiritual awakening and the human capacity to bring light into the world. During luminescence, we light candles, lamps, and chalices to recognize both the light we have received and the light we are called to share. And while luminescence is distinctly ours, we are not alone in marking the month of February with candlelight and sacred flame. Across cultures and traditions, this season has long been associated with rituals of illumination and renewal. In Christianity, the Feast of Candlemas celebrates the presentation of Jesus at the temple and the blessings of candles as symbols of divine light entering the world. In Old Earth traditions, Imbolc honors the returning of light of the early spring, often through candlelit ceremonies dedicated to Bridget and the promise of renewal. In Buddhism, festivals such as the Magha Puja and regional lantern celebrations honor awakening and clarity. And even in secular spaces, winter vigils and remembrance ceremonies rely upon candles to express solidarity, grief, and hope. In George's service later today, there will be candles. Let that be tied to you to this morning's service as well. These shared practices remind us that humanity across time and belief instinctively turns to flame in the darkest months as a language of courage and continuity. The chalice and luminescence together teach us that illumination is both personal and emotional. Our personal practices, our quiet moments, our questioning the divine or the dust, this reflection, meditation, prayer, ethical action, it all tends the flame within us. Do your best to see it as a real thing, not just a symbol, not just a logo, but as a thing you actually carry. It doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter how your belief in the ultimate reality functions. You can still, no matter that, bring into yourself a belief that there is something about you which just has the capacity to light something, to awaken something. You know that each of you has had a moment in your life where you've told somebody something and their eyes just went, oh, I get that. Where you know you comforted somebody successfully. Where you know you inspired somebody to do the right thing. Or where your example of the difficulty you faced and how you overcame it gave someone else the courage to do the same. That's the thing. That's the thing which transcends all codified belief, all religions. Doesn't matter. Because that thing is the thing all of us can grasp. And where it comes from could be amazing. But if we were really meant to know it and cognize it and understand it, well, we would. So then just have faith in those moments where you helped someone get it. And remind yourself of those moments where someone helped you get it. So that you remember, that's what that felt like. That aha, that light bulb over your head. That moment where you were like, oh, man, if I was born for nothing else, it was to help that person in that moment. If I suffered that whole trial, it somehow feels worth it because I just helped somebody who is suffering the same or similar. Because you know the feelings of those moments, right? Like you know what it feels like when you're the trigger of someone else's relief, support, sustainability. Like, man, I mean, it's my job to try to do that. But as a human, we all are those ministers. We are all meant to do that. I remember when I was a kid, I would hear a bit of good advice and I'd go, I have to save that. Because somebody might need that advice someday. So clearly, from a very early age, that was my crack. I couldn't get enough of those little bits of something that might translate into someone else's relief, release, renewal, restoration, and all the other good R words. I talk a lot about light up here, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse with it. But somehow I just keep feeling compelled to do so. Because everything out there in the world is trying to tell us we don't have that. Okay, not everything, but a lot. Certainly, there's lots of people out there who want you to forget entirely that it is within your capacity to inspire others. That these concentric circles of moral awareness that we have, we are ourselves, we are in the center. And then the people we love are the next concentric circle. And then the people we are aware of. And then those we're not even aware of. And that those who can manage compassion and empathy for each of those circles. Not excluding the one in the middle. That's this fuel center. That's the actual source of light. The only conduit you have with whatever else might be out there is entirely through you. You do not operate as a spigot for someone else's light. So therefore, you are only your own. And there is no one here who has any less of it than anyone else. And it's okay to take a glass and put it under your own spigot and have a big drink of it. Just as long as you don't forget to water all the gardens of everyone else. It's really, man, take courage and comfort from the capacity to do that for people. And we will get through all of this mess. And not only will we get through it, but the whatever it is that exists right beyond it, how many things in our lives on a small scale have we gone, oh, man, if I hadn't bumped my car against that other person and had to wait 10 minutes while the police came and did a little report, and yes, everybody was fine, and my insurance covered it, but boy, if I hadn't gone through that moment of inconvenience, who knows what else might have happened down the road. Or you find out later on that it was a good thing that you were delayed that day. Or that you go through some difficulty and say, oh my God, if I hadn't gone through that difficulty, I wouldn't have known. So try injecting that light into that moment in the first place. So that whatever it is we're resisting, whatever it is that we're afraid of, we can see the truth of that moment and what it means for us. We can put light on the pathway through that hardship. And the more we do that, the more we'll be an example of it for everyone else. And in the spirit of that light, let the congregation say amen. Amen. Please rise for our closing hymn, number 142, Let There Be Light.